and it's in Neukölln, which is the sort of poorer quarter in Berlin, with a lot of people who cannot afford private music lessons. And I'm working there since 2000, and my own story is that I studied classic singing, then did also directing and writing, and but the teaching sort of was always the thing sticking with me, and that's what fascinates me most. Thank you. So yes, if you want to know more about me, you can ask me later. You know, I think that's fine. I live in Berlin. I'm a vocal teacher. Because I'm totally excited to tell you my thoughts about streaming, the advantages of live performance and live lecturing in the 3D environment. Am I sure you're all listening? I hope you can all listen, and if there's something, I can make little breaks. So I'm not going to talk about Hindemith today. It's just the name of the school. Anyway. I'm going to start with my lecture. It's a little low. I can't make it very much louder. Put it on top volume, if that is possible. Yes, my avatar is the same everywhere. Do you hear me now loud enough? Oops. Okay, I don't want to create an outfit. I just want to stand here. Okay. So. Oh, okay. I hope everybody listens and everybody hears me talking. Thank you. Yes. Okay. I just wanted to make, I'm myself not a very technical person, so I wanted to make sure everybody can get it, and it's the most easy thing to do. Just, this is why I tried the stream in here. Okay, wonderful. So. But now I start. No, there's no way out. I will start now. No more technical stuff. When I came to Second Life in 2006 and started streaming music, I was interested in exploring an experience with a very special audience, where people do not sit together in a group or crowd, but each one sits behind his own screen. I figured that there's another kind of proximity between the audience and the performer, comparable to live radio, just that it was a bit more than live radio because each was able to communicate with the others in real time. By connecting in real time and by being able to communicate, we felt like we were in a common space, even if there's always a little latency, lag, between the live music stream and the communicating audience. It excited me because I could now interact with the audience not only from one side, like a virtual stage, but people could communicate with me while I was singing. No more waiting for applause at the end of a song. I was never really interested in the technical aspects of the medium, so I will not tell you today how to connect your computer with a streaming server, how to set up the sound, etc. Been there, done that, and I have forgotten how to do it. But I will try to put together the advantages that we have in virtual places like Second Life, Cloud Party, Open Grid, etc. The advantages of live performance and live lecturing in the 3D environment. I am a vocal teacher in Berlin, Germany, and work a lot on presence and concentration with my students. We need more than the ability to sing notes, hold a key, or sing in the right rhythm. In singing, you create a musical presence that ideally transforms people's perception of time. It's like a teleport into another atmosphere. Suddenly the world is a little different. Something has touched the listener. Something in the music and in the listening created a moment of intimacy with the listener's soul. A moment to let go, and yet a moment to remember. How do we create a moment to remember? Although everybody looked at me as if I was getting lost and insane back then in 2006, I saw a huge potential in the 3D environment to gather experience with creating a moment to remember and a moment of true intimacy through the voice, through playing guitar directly to the screens, to the ears on the other side. When I started using a computer back in 1996, I was trying to develop a system of remembering, a so-called mnemonic system, in which my mind could wander from one level to a next level, from one room to the next. Drawers for my mind. I wrote texts in order to figure out my stream of thinking and read books about pre-Socratics and mnemotechnique. How did people remember their knowledge before the printing of books was being invented? They built rooms to have more control of their speeches. They needed an accurate memory. Therefore, the lecturer wandered from room to room in his imagination. I will read a quote now from Francis Yates' Art of Memory, and I will read it very slow so you have a little time to understand it. It's a very interesting quote indeed. Aristotle's theory of memory and reminiscence is based on the theory of knowledge which he expounds in his De Anima. The perceptions brought in by the five senses are first treated or worked upon by the faculty of imagination. And it is the images so formed which become the material of the intellectual faculty. Imagination is the intermediary between perception and thought. Thus, while all knowledge is ultimately derived from sense impressions, it is not on these in the raw that thought works, but after they have been treated by or absorbed into the imaginative faculty. It is the image-making part of the soul which makes the work of the higher processes of thought possible. Hence, the soul never thinks without a mental picture. The thinking faculty thinks of its forms in mental pictures. No one could ever learn or understand anything if we had not the faculty of perception. Even when he thinks speculatively, he must have some mental picture with which to think. Quote end from Francis Yates' The Art of Memory. So they used the imagination of rooms as an interface, not only to transform a perception into a thought, but in order to remember thoughts, they went back into imagined rooms to look them up for stored information in order to have access to their mind. In the 3D medium, I remember landscapes and rooms. There is an avatar which represents me, who draws me into his/her surrounding, so the screen becomes a virtual room. The picture with my avatar within creates an identification with the pixels that form a room around the avatar. 3D is not only a thing that I see on the screen, but it is creating something like a 3D mirror in my perception. My imagination goes 3D. I recall concerts with very special atmospheres in specific landscapes with specific avatars. And as the landscape is possibly a creation of a person who rents the place and builds the landscape, we do not encounter merely a landscape, but a content that not only is a representation of the person behind the screen who built the place, but also like a physical extension of the avatar of the person who built it. Like a voice that is not being represented in the body of the singer alone, but the singer connects with the physical acoustic surrounding of the room. And we hear what the singer sings because it is enhanced by the surrounding room. The room and landscapes are not real rooms and landscapes, but they are an imagination of rooms and landscapes. When I started building my performance places in Second Life, Cloud Party, Metaplace and Virtue, I tried to realize a certain atmosphere rather than building a concert hall or a schoolroom. We need concert halls in our so-called real life with its physical requirements. The concert hall is being built for the experience of sound. The audience will be sitting and the space is being built in a way that the position of the audience will not acoustically disturb the sound of the singer on stage. The stage is above or below, like in an arena, so that the sound has a better chance to be heard. The space is by priority an acoustic space, and form follows function. In the 3D environment, we do not need to follow the laws of acoustics or gravity when we build a room. The sound is being streamed from the musician's desk in a room or studio, while each person in the audience sits in a completely different acoustic room situation behind the screen. This has the advantage that the performer cannot be acoustically disturbed by the audience. People can leave their real TV on and it will not affect the performance's sound within the 3D environment. So we do not need a physical concert hall. A concert hall in a 3D environment is rather an appeal to your memory that remembers oh, I'm sitting quietly in a room in order to listen to the sound. We sit and focus on the music. So why do people still create auditoriums and concert halls if they are not functional in a 3D environment? There's one thing required in the 3D environment in order to create a moving common experience that is needed and must be observed: concentration. The freedom that education gives is the ability to concentrate on anything I want. The training you receive in education, which sometimes gets out of our sight, is the ability to focus on information. To keep a soothing voice in your head so that you can concentrate even if facts are boring or crucial or not amusing. We stay with the material even though there is an impulse to run away from it. We deal with it because we understand the necessity to integrate this information. I may not like the music of Johann Sebastian Bach in the beginning. It does not sound like a pop song. But by staying with it, I will learn its beautiful complexity and rhythm, the sharing of a melody by all voices and instruments. And I will start to musically enjoy and wander the path that Bach has been building for me in his music. A moment will occur when I suddenly say, how could I not love the music of Johann Sebastian Bach? And my previous music memory will get a new order of musical preferences. In that sense, learning is always a radical act, because all new information restructures the old information. We have that sensation also with food that we explore and learn to like. A shift in your perception, a change of view that feels good and more mature. The way of representing a lecture or proposal these days has changed by the rapid development of the media. Managers use PowerPoint and mind maps in order not only to structure the content and the message that they want to bring across, but also to enhance the content and the message with visual impulses. We want to hook attention and concentration. We want to effect an outcome from presentation or a lecture. Also in teaching, in the transmitting of knowledge, the way of attracting the attention of the listener, the student, has changed. Learning is no longer understood as a hierarchic treasure where the strongest or most clever understands a complicated and intellectual riddle. But in a more democratic society, we try to walk a broader path to understanding. It is my interest as a teacher to present my content in such a structured way that the content hooks. My success as a teacher is the learning success of my student. The person who lectures has become more and more a performer. He teaches, he performs, and on more than one level. From listening to the news on TV, we are used to a neutral voice telling us the most crucial facts in a calm mode, so we do not get too excited or drift away. In addition, we get images of the place where crucial things have happened, and witnesses talk about what they have seen or heard. We get an imagination of the place and scenery. The news has an important role because it is the most recent information from the world. The fact that we feel we are in the same time frame with the thing that has happened gives us a certain attention in listening. You will not listen with the same attention to news from 5 days ago. And also, an earthquake from 5 days ago will not excite us in the same way as a recent one. The problem is past. We deal with what is now. This is our media conditioning. Are you still hearing me? Because my screen just turned blank. I will restart this site. I hope I will come back to the same place. I'm not yet finished. I'm not yet finished. I still have 3 sides. Okay. Yes, yes. Go closer to one of these little boxes. Or come closer to the stage, or get closer in the back. This is I'm coming over the stream, and this is why good. So you got everything. You got everything. I was talking about the news. We deal with what is now. This is our media conditioning. So, let me see. I hope my computer doesn't crack down. It's making weird noises. Okay, so I'm going on because this is a stream, and the stream is totally independent from my avatar on stage, but I hope it will come on stage eventually. Let me see. Yeah, I still have a couple minutes. Okay, can you please, Aquil, Bill Krebs, can you please pass the address around for the iTunes so people can listen to it in iTunes as a plan B. Okay, this, I don't know. It is loading, but it's not really working on. Okay, I will just talk on because this is, wait, I will try to. Yes, everybody can hear fine, so I will just talk on, and I hope eventually this site will load again. The way this news is being presented is already a quite complex matter with different levels. We have the soothing sound of the news presenter, the anchor. We perceive via documentary film the images of the place where it happened. And we have the witness who emotionally draws us into what has been happening. The witness and the victims are like the avatar who draws us into the space and makes it more real. It is a bit like the messenger in a Greek tragedy. The messenger moves the drama by bringing on the information. Being a 3D environment user for a long time now, I recently got into a talk about what the benefit is of using a 3D environment at all. We all remember the total hype created primarily by the media back in 2007 and 2008 about Second Life, about the virtual world, and people invested lots of money and then backed off disappointed because it wouldn't bring in the profit that they had been expecting. As if they had entered a labyrinth and lost their perspective from listening to the sirens and the strange underworld, they came back. They had lost the battle, exposed to the fears and doubts of their surrounding. They quickly tried to forget the era of the enthusiasm, movement, and creativity they had experienced. Daedalus, where's the thread that brings me out of the darkness again? Yes, I can rely on my microphone here. I can rely on my microphone. Unfortunately, Cloud Party, for some reasons, is not loading. So I hope it eventually loads, and I will just... So, Charles Leadbeater, who I found quoted in an interior design magazine, is a leading authority on innovation and creativity. He was asked for the design of the future. He said, "The same parameters apply to design as to innovation. It should be simple, linear, and social. Good products should help you to lead a good, successful, and efficient life. A product has to stand for something. It needs a message. It gives a sustainable thought for the urban life of tomorrow." Oh, here I am back again. It gives a sustainable thought for the urban life of tomorrow. And how does such a life look? It's lively, filled with cultural and social aspects. I was asking myself how I would present a 3D environment to an audience who is not willing to risk a loss of credibility and dignity by believing in the wrong product. How do we think 3D? I'm not sure if I'm still here. Okay, I will try to reload this side. Okay, my computer acts a little difficult, but yes, here I go again. So let's try that. Okay, log in. So how do we think 3D? We think it as a mimesis of our surrounding reality. This is how it was being sold back in 2007. Second Life implies the mimesis, the imitation of a first life. I pick up the concert situation again. We go into a concert and we transfer the reality of the concert audience to the 3D, the virtual environment. Comparing both realities can only favor the real situation because we compare a real authentic experience of space with an artificial non-authentic experience of space. This applies to many similar comparisons that build the basis for the judgment of the product. YouTube offers me a reality of video bloggers who update frequently with new videos of themselves, but the comments are posted after the video has been made, so the comments have the same significance as the applause. They are not immediate and real-time, as are the comments in 3D. What is the benefit of real-time? Besides crashing, I mean. We all know real-time crashing. So what is the benefit of real-time? It is a deeply democratic matter because it integrates us all in the same time frame. No one better or worse, more or more privileged than the other. The concert, with its applause, is a hierarchic matter. It says, first I am on stage and sing or say what I have to sing or say, and then you may applaud or boo. It sort of puts two animals into two different cages so that they won't bite each other. This kind of hierarchy contains a structure of fear. The performer is afraid that people might disrupt, so we create a rule, and this rule is so established that we have no more space to learn a different perspective. Common real-time dissolves this rule. It brings the audience into a different responsibility because they are no longer obliged, like a little kid, to stay calm and immobile on their chair. We all feed the real stream with our input. We are all creative beings, and we are all listeners. Real-time puts us in the front row of the news, all listeners and all messengers. Freedom implies the responsibility to play the ball when it is being thrown, pass on information, a truly communicative and social media. I love reading the chat while I'm singing because I feel the space is not a vacuum around me. Bye, Edith. I'm not isolated into a special artist being, but the world is alive with text around me. People move and play with words, and this is a representation of their presence. As a singer in real, you connect yourself with the resonating walls as you sing. As a singer in the 3D environment, I connect with the people's text because the chat resonates people's presence. Everyone has the freedom to teleport away, to turn on the TV, to iron and leave the keyboard. We have developed our living standard to a point where we discover the main value among our physical needs in life is our lifetime and our concentration. Our life feels best when we have the freedom to choose how concentrated and in which way do we spend our lifetime. With a lot of concentration, we will feel our life is under our control, successful and efficient. With a lot of distraction, we will feel entertained, but not so much in control of what we really want and need. We are consumers in a cradle that shakes our mental constitution into a state of dizziness in order to stay calm and sleepy. Procrastination is a way to digress from the truth that our lifetime will end, and from the fact that we do a lot of things in our lives that seem to have no freedom of choice. So procrastination is a great way to live with the compromise of repression. Procrastination in combination with repression leads us to a way of consuming that will never be fully satisfied. Only if we start feeling this state of dissatisfaction can we ask ourselves what it is that makes our life more fulfilled. Simple things indeed, like a good meal, time for meditation and thinking, good health and good sleep, friends, and cultural and spiritual input. A bigger car will not get on this list, nor will a bigger TV. When it comes to the issue of real satisfaction, the lists get small and somehow priceless. I will say love and not body mass index. I will say friendship and not a certain nationality. I will say good life, and my imagination will let me sit at a table together with people I really like and with food that I enjoy. I will say rest, and I mean that satisfied and happy quiescence. There are many ways to get into this state, be it meditation, sports, or just sleeping at the beach. In my basic needs, I'm in fact very flexible. It's comparable to a religious belief. I don't need that my God looks like Granddad. What has all this to do with a 3D environment? Let me say it like this. By looking at the product I would like to sell to someone who has never tried it and hesitates investing his lifetime into it, I have found out that there is a very general misunderstanding on what this product is about. The 3D environment is not the mimesis, the imitation of the so-called real or physical world that surrounds us. Rather, it is a medium that has more to offer than all the other media around. It is a learning step forward and therefore a quite revolutionary medium because it combines different media levels in real time. This makes us into DJs of a very complex level of interaction with the world. I can work with a voice on the stream, performing, lecturing, reading the news, which brings us to a kind of oral history. This is the level for a storyteller or even common storyteller or musicianship. I can build the avatar as a messenger, witness, victim or hero, and I can build the mnemonic space around it or explore other people's mnemonic spaces. Here is where it happened, is happening, or will happen. We can even build mnemonic places together. The mnemonic level can work like a 3D PowerPoint or mind map too. I can resonate, comment, begin dialogues, write footnotes or side remarks in text chat, and I can use it as a notebook and even store text there. We can start writing stories together. And the key number 4 level in this exciting 3D medium, which might be in fact a 4D medium, is that we can meet in real time even if we live in completely different time zones. This makes us all equal at the news front. The 3D environment, therefore, is a perfect medium or tool for education, which explains a big success in that field. Here we find another important truth about the so-called 3D world. The 3D environment is a tool, not a world. It gives us the room, the space for imagination. But imagination needs a memory in order to work. This is why we need content such as knowledge databases, cultural activities, flow of information, meeting points for people to connect. If we do not use the 3D medium in its appropriate way, we will not be able to develop and unlock the medium in the appropriate way. We haven't yet arrived at the full authentic experience, the full potential of a 3D presentation of this social and cultural network and education tool. But if we understand better what this medium is about and what it requires, we can develop much more concentrated and sustainable content, and artistic and cultural efforts can condense, because concentration is the biggest force in a diffuse internet. During my 7 years in the performing field in a 3D environment, I could build up a group of people who meet on a regular basis from all around the world, once a week with no obligation, but because of the hook of music and the community that has developed in the chat and ongoing communication, which leads to trust and friendship and also to business contacts, real encounters and common cultural and social projects. I have become a much better and more relaxed performer, and also I have turned into a 3D media host. No, I did not make a lot of money, but I feel I support a medium that has incredible undiscovered potential. It feels like back when in '96 I was fascinated by the possibilities of chat rooms, even though it was a complete intellectual no-go and people still had no mobile phones or Facebook. We make an error in thinking that the medium is the content. But if we learn to think beyond that prejudice and see the medium as a tool, we can use it in a completely personalized way and in real time. There's much to explore and learn. Thank you. Let me just relog.
Wow, that's amazing.